Okay, hi everyone! I am back to film another video. I kind of wanted to do something a little bit more like Halloween-like, maybe like a little bit more like smoky or something. I don't really know if I'm going to use any palettes today, which I know is kind of strange, but I did recently just get this new single in. I've never used anything from BELLE Beauty Bar before, but this is a new kind of almost holographic-ish kind of shade. I saw a lot of swatches of this online. Yeah, I've had interest in things from BELLE Beauty Bar before, but it's, you know, obviously it's never really fit into the budget. It's not really something I've ever had time for, so that's why I haven't tried them up until now, but I'm gonna try this single. I'll see how I feel about it, and to like frame the look and everything, I have a couple of other random products like Cupid's Arrows and Kajal Ink Artists I think is probably what I'll use because I'm lazy and they're pretty easy to work with. So I like have a very vague idea in my head but nothing super specific. As you can see, I already put on my base and I also already put on my eyebrows. The only thing I haven't put on yet is the eye primer, which I know I'm supposed to do eye primer first and give it some time to settle in, but I wanted to use the SUQQU eye primer today. I was going to use it in the previous video that I filmed, but I completely forgot. This is a new eye primer from SUQQU, and I've been really interested to try it. I'm gonna put some on the back of my hand. It looks like it's gonna just be completely clear, no tint at all. I do prefer my eye primers to be a little bit tinted, but I don't really mind too much either way, honestly. The only time I'll get really like, oh, I need to use a tinted eye primer is if I'm working with like pastels. My eyelid is so naturally hyperpigmented. If I use pastels without some kind of tinted primer, then the pastels are gonna pull some really strange shades. But otherwise, usually, especially if I'm doing a dark look, I don't need the eye primer to be tinted or not. I just need my eyelid to be prepped and ready. I have such dry eyelids that I need an eye primer that can just smooth them out and make them a little bit more receptive to actually grabbing onto and holding the pigment, otherwise nothing sticks to my eyelids. It kind of reminds me almost like a eye primer version of the Pat McGrath primer, the face primer. It kind of reminds me of that, but it does have a really nice smoothness to it, and it also felt kind of like it also had the consistency of like a slightly thicker eye cream, and I like how my eyelid is slightly tacky, but it also feels nice and smooth and soft. So I am definitely really excited to continue to use this. Does anyone know what to do about all these frizzies? Like, these are so annoying. Does anyone know what to do about them? Like, how do you make them go away? Okay, so I'm going to start off by framing my eye look before I go in with that BELLE Beauty Bar single. I think I may go ahead and use the Cupid's Arrow in Berry. So here were the contenders, and as you can see, the Azuki Kajal Ink Artist ended up being a lot more kind of cranberry. It actually looks a lot more like one of the Auric shades, the red one, so it's not quite the deep Bordeaux that I was hoping for. And then this is Berry right here. And then this is the Kajal Ink Artist in the purple shade. As you can see, it's a little bit more saturated and more vivid. This is definitely a little bit more desaturated, and it's also much darker in value. So I'm gonna go with this, and I'm going to use this to kind of frame around my eyes. So I'm gonna use these brushes from Blend Bunny. I think they should be fine. So I'm just going to start putting this down. I'm just gonna put down a really rough layer, and I'm gonna work one eye at a time because I don't wanna ruin anything. But generally speaking, these are pretty easy to work with, so as long as you don't like let it like sit around for a while. I'm gonna add another layer. I haven't actually used this shade as an eyeshadow stick yet. I've only used it as an eyeliner, so I just wasn't so sure how much to put down. I have used the brown ones as eyeshadow before, but the brown ones I have that I use as eyeshadow are not as dark, so obviously I can just go completely ham and those are fine because they just, you know, they don't get that dark. And I'm not really caring about the eyelid part because I'm going to be putting other stuff down for that. Okay, I think that's a pretty good start. It was pretty easy to do, and it's consistent enough. I can obviously go over it with a matte shadow later. I'm just gonna take what's left of on the brush and start the lower lash line. So now is the hard part, is replicating this on the other eye. Not bad. I've definitely done way worse before. I did bring it in a little too far on this eye compared to this eye. So I'll have to bring it in a little bit further on this eye than I was hoping for, just so that it's symmetrical. I think I need to go a little bit higher up here. Okay, so I think, obviously as you can tell, I blew it out a little bit far on this eye, but I can also just use my finger to kind of pull off any of that extra product. And so yeah, so I actually ended up going too high on my left eye. So now as you can see, my left eye looks really messy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some setting powder and I'm going to use that to do some cleanup work. So I'm just going to use my Urban Decay powder, which is what I use to like basically erase my mistakes. And so I'm also going to go ahead, because my left eye blending is a little bit rough, I'm going to go ahead and just sweep this powder foundation across the entire upper part. And I'm going to also go ahead and use the same to take down how far in I went here. So we're just doing some damage control using powder foundation, which is what I usually use powder foundation for. I think that's a good start. Obviously I can go over this with matte eyeshadow later to really make sure it's nice and smooth and opaque. Generally speaking, I don't usually use shadow sticks completely on their own unless I'm like using my finger and it's like I just need to be out the door. I usually will go over it with a matte shadow later. So I actually had been meaning to bust this out before Halloween, and hopefully I still will have time to get this up beforehand. But this is the It's Freaking Bats palette that is so sadly underused. I'm gonna go into Dairy down here. I had meant to do more looks with this back when I first got it, and then a bunch of junk happened to me and I never got around to it. I was planning on getting the Peaches and Dreams palette, then of course I just didn't have time in my backlog. I knew I wasn't gonna have the energy to be able to actually like get around to using it and stuff. Okay, you see how that really is adding the perfect touch. This definitely is kind of my sign to make sure I use this before Halloween, but we'll see. The day that I'm filming this video, it's already the 20th, so... I definitely think some kind of glitter adhesive would obviously be really great, but I want to test out the merits of this SUQQU primer, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the shade here. These are my Glam Shop Holos. They are really pretty, and I wish I had all the other shades, but those got discontinued, and I don't think they're ever going to get brought back. I haven't seen anything about that, so it does feel a little bit kind of loose, but it doesn't feel thick or flaky, and it feels a little bit drier. It doesn't have any sort of like squishiness or oiliness or anything. I'm just going to stamp it on with my finger. I couldn't decide between this and I think Black Magic. I couldn't decide between them, and initially I wanted to get both, but I was like, realistically I should just get one and, you know, save some money. Say I don't have time for both, and they probably both are going to end up looking pretty similar on the eye anyways. So I was having trouble deciding, and then Bad to the Brow uploaded a reel where she was using this one, and I was like, okay, that's my sign. I'm getting this one. So if you guys want to use a code for Belle Beauté bar to save some money, you should use Millie10. That will support Bad to the Brow. Ooh, pretty. I like it. I do see the holo. I can actually see it, which one of the biggest reasons I haven't bought more holo shades from other brands beyond Glam Shop is specifically that I would see other people use them and the holo was barely visible. That's cool. And it went on really well, no fallout from my finger. The Glam Shop ones, I will say, are pretty heavy duty. Those are kind of hefty and you definitely need an adhesive for those. Yeah, this one's just as easy. I think this kind of goes without saying for this particular shade, but if you're gonna use this without any other eyeshadow and you start blending it out, the dark base is going to show itself. I don't think I really need to say much about that though. It's pretty obvious that this shade has a very dark base. I'm having to go gentle and slow just because, you know, gotta treat my cornea gently. It's sticking well, and especially because of the fact that I was using like eyeliners and eyeshadow sticks and whatnot, it's sticking especially well to those because those also do have, you know, a little bit of stick to them. And like pretty much all of it transfers from my finger. All that's really left here is just the dark base. Okay, so that's this look so far. I feel like shape-wise, it's not... I feel like the shape of the look could be better. The easiest way for me to fix that is going to just be to take a really, really bright inner corner highlight and just like sweep it up. That's probably going to be the easiest way for me to fix that. What I'm going to do is, I could not resist, and Ulta also had 5x points, so like I'm gonna use one of the shades in here as some kind of inner corner highlight. I think this one, Emo Cowboy, is gonna be a good one. And I'm going to use this shade to kind of adjust and tamp down the fact that I put the shade too far in. Yeah, do you see how I'm able to like basically cover that up? You know, Urban Decay has screwed up so many of their products and discontinued so many of their other great products, but the Moondust singles are amazing. I do have one Moondust single shadow that I got at the cosmetics company store that is in the old formulation packaging, and I've compared it to the new Moondust shadows in the clear plastic packaging, and they're just as good. So it's like the one thing Urban Decay didn't ruin is their Moondust singles, and I feel like their Moondust single shadows and palettes and whatnot are just probably one of the best things they have had on offer for a very long time. So I know I haven't actually like gotten good use out of these at all, because I literally just got these in the mail now and I'm just using one shade for the first time, but honestly, if you're looking for like a collection of sparkly toppers to keep on hand as a complement to the rest of your collection, you really should just go ahead and check one of these out. So this is Galactic Cowgirl. Interestingly, the back of the packaging has Mandarin on it, and it's simplified, which tells me that this is definitely something that they made to really dig into that Asian market, which doesn't surprise me at all. Here you can see the Mandarin on the back. I have very, very spotty reading abilities, so I couldn't tell you what it said. And it's interesting that it's simplified because, well, does Urban Decay sell in China? I actually don't know. Do they? For some reason I thought they didn't, but I guess they do. This one, the one with the champagne pinky packaging, this one, as you can see, is a lot more neutral. I'm gonna go into Apparition. I have used Apparition before, and I absolutely loved how it looks, so I'm using it again just because I just want to use it again because it's so pretty. And this is gonna be the base shade for the lower lash line, and I'll put something nice and sparkly on top of this. And I'm glad to see that I can take this out. This palette is over 2 years old at this point. I'm glad I can take it out and use it and it still is good, because I know sometimes there's concerns over the lifespan of indie products. I saw some people I follow note molding issues on some of their singles, which is so gross. So it's nice that I can just use this on my eyes and it's completely fine. Somehow I feel like I remember these being way more like sparkly than they used to, but at the time my eyeshadow palette collection was also way smaller, so I didn't have a reference of comparison, and now I've been exposed to so many different formulations that it could just be that this suddenly feels not as impressive by comparison. I want to do a video using just this, just like, you know, bring this back, hey, remember this guy? I'm gonna do a video just with this, and then I also do want to do a video with Lightworks 4. I did get a request for that, and I want to bust it out anyways and use it because I definitely haven't used it enough. Yeah, I need to do that. Okay, so the battery died, and so I put in a new one, but in the meantime I did go ahead and I put the emo cowboy just down here, and I kind of pulled it down a little bit. So this is gonna be the look. I think this is a good springboard for me to put some graphic liner on top of later. I kind of want to try using cake liner this time and see if I can pull something off. I'll see. No guarantees on my end of things, but I'm gonna try it. So I'm just gonna end this look here. I'm gonna do my face and then I'll put on the lashes just so that I can conserve my battery life as best as I can. So for the rest of the face, I have no idea what I'm going to use as usual. I'm gonna go ahead and start with contour. I definitely think I'm gonna go a little bit heavier on the contour today, just because of the fact that like my eyeshadow is so heavy and it's so like blackened and purple. I'm gonna go ahead and use the KALEIDOS Symphony Contour Trio. I usually just use the middle shade. So I'm just going to apply this broadly on the perimeter of my face. I did use the SUQQU foundation again. I tested the shade 105 kind of more on the perimeters of my face. Would match me if I had a tan. I kind of do right now, but at the same time it is too yellow to work all over my face. So if I do end up buying this, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna buy the 205 shade. Which I still feel like it looks too pink, but then every time I put it on, it ends up looking fine. And I do really like the finish today. I made sure to prep my skin. I made sure to use I used the Shop Miss A sponge today, which did the job so much better. The foundation looks absolutely beautiful. I used all my proper primers. I used my setting mist. I used everything, so my complexion does look way better today. So yeah, I'm gonna really go heavier, especially up on the cheekbones around the eyeshadow. Like, to the point where in real life this probably would look terrible, but this is a spoopy look for a photo and for a video, so I will play it up spoopily. Blues and purples I can never match blush shades to. I'm gonna try using this. I just got this from YesStyle. I have one of the other shades that I love so much and I really wanted to get the other shade in this collection. There's 3, but I just wanted this one. I'm gonna try to apply like not too much, I guess. And I'm going to end it before the teardrop effect I have on my eyeshadow. I'm gonna end it so it's going to be more towards the outer part of my face. I felt like I was putting on a little too much, maybe it was a little too warm, but it actually blends out really nicely. And I used the Flower Nose brush, which has the blush brushes from Flower Nose are super diffuse, so they are really great for a more sheer application as well. For highlighter, I am going to use the ODEN'S eye highlighter. It is in the shade Lavender Dream. Everything except for Pink Star and Rose Sky are sold out, and the shades I want would be Moon Talk and Azura Shine. Those are the 2 shades I want the most, and I mean, I don't know. If they're being discontinued, then ODEN'S eye is just keeping up their trend of discontinuing everything that's actually good. I don't understand what their thought process is sometimes, but I'm gonna go ahead and use this shade here, which this is also, by the way, an amazing eyeshadow, so this can also be used as some kind of like glittery topper for the eyes, which I've done before to great effect. I'm gonna use it today. I know glittery highlighters are polarizing. I like them, but generally speaking, if I put a colorful highlighter like this on top of a very low-key kind of blush, I do have to go over it just a little bit with something else, or else it's gonna feel just really abrupt, like it came out of nowhere. So what I'll do to remedy that is I will also go over it with a kind of just normal highlighter that I would use on a day-to-day basis. So the first one I grabbed for is Skin Glazing, and I will kind of overlay that on the back half, and it doesn't look as stark. Want to use colorful highlighters, but you feel like they always end up looking really strange, like they just pop up out of nowhere, is you can try taking something a little bit more like everyday, quote-unquote neutral, quote-unquote whatever is that highlighter for you, and kind of just put that towards the back, and you see how suddenly it looks like it kind of emerges from the skin a little bit better. Honestly, I'll be honest, I think I need some Lavender Dream on my lower lash line. I think it will help. I could have used this instead of the Moondust palette. That's fine. I think either one would have been a good option. I don't think in that case there was like one's better than the other. I like how that looks. So the last thing is going to be the lipstick, which again, I'm not the greatest at matching lips to purples and blues. So I may just go for something kind of like just like normal, I guess, for lack of a better word. And Sebi's under my desk. I am amazed that for as big as he's gotten, I'm amazed he can still fit under there. Gonna line my lips really quickly. Okay, I think I might have gone overboard on the upper lip line, but that's okay. Should I go for something darker or should I go for something lighter? Maybe something darker would work. I'm gonna just go ahead and try this. I just got this on Amazon Prime Day. It's the shade 31. It's the PERIPERA Ink Velvet. So the Ink Velvet, I don't mind the newest iterations of. The Ink Airy Velvet, the newest iterations of that, I don't think are that great, but I can get behind the Ink Velvet's current iteration. Especially because some of the newer shades they've released recently have been pretty unconventional by like Korean standards. They're not shades that I could ever imagine Romand releasing. So I just got this on Prime Day. I had a bunch of shades in my cart, but for budgetary reasons, I was like, I can only pick one. And I'm doing more of like a gradation look as I usually go for. Yeah, you can definitely tell I went a little bit overboard on one side of my lip. Okay, actually that works, especially because I applied more of like a sheer layer. So I need to trim my bangs. They are so long. Yeah, they're way too long, but I just haven't been able to go and get them trimmed. Oh wait, shoot, I didn't put lashes on. I'm an idiot. Okay, hold on, I'll be right back. This is my finished look, and I did clip half my bangs to the side, so I have, if any of you have played Pokemon Sword and Shield, I kind of have like a Marnie moment going on, which honestly, Marnie's like super cool, so I don't mind looking like her at all. I don't think I look half as cool as she does, but I like to think I do. So this is gonna be my finished look. I do wish my hair up here was a little bit more voluminous. I feel like I have such like a flat head, but anyways, I do like how it looks. I think I look pretty cool. And the eyeshadow is super pretty. I enjoyed everything I put on my face. So yeah, I don't really have too much else to say. I do have another video I have to film after this. I did use the Doe Fuckboy Repellent lashes, and it's spelled FUCCBOI, so it's cute. I do really like those lashes personally. I think they're super cool. I didn't put them on very well because the band is new, so it's kind of rigid, so it didn't really fully stick to the entire length of my lash line, so they're hanging on for dear life, but it should be enough to get me through the next video I have to film after this. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I really don't have too much else to say, so I do hope you guys enjoyed watching me put on these shadows, playing with some shadows that you guys haven't seen in a while, just like a mix of old and new. I'm just gonna go ahead and end this video here, so thank you guys so much for watching. I know this video probably came across really disorganized, but hopefully things can get better as I get used to filming again. I appreciate your guys' support as always, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, take care. Bye-bye!